When you hear the word wildcat, what comes to mind? A ferocious tiger stalking its prey, a sleek leopard lazing in a tree, or maybe a stealthy puma prowling through the jungle? But there's a wild cat that looks more like an otter, sounds more like a bird, and sneaks through forests like a shadow with a secret. Meet the Jaguarundi, a cat so bizarre and mysterious, even wildlife enthusiasts sometimes go, "Wait, that's a cat?" This feline doesn't play by the rules, and that's exactly what makes it one of nature's most curious mysteries. If you've never heard of the Jaguarundi, you're not alone. It's often called the ghost of the forest, not because it's spooky, but because it's really good at staying out of fields. You might assume an animal this obscure must live on some remote little island. Instead, the Jaguarundi actually has one of the widest ranges of any small wild cat in the Americas, from southern Texas all the way down to northern Argentina. They've been spotted in tropical rainforests, dry brushlands, swamps, and even abandoned sugarcane fields. They don't mind getting dirty or wet. They can climb trees, swim across rivers, and squeeze through thick undergrowth. If a place looks too open or easy to walk through, the Jaguarundi probably avoids it. Yet, despite living across such a huge stretch of land, many locals in these regions have never seen one. While other cats roar, pounce, and pose for documentaries, Jaguarundis prefer to sneak through life completely unnoticed. Even camera traps struggle to capture them. They just don't like attention. And somehow they've pulled that off for centuries. No spotlight, no fuss. The Jaguarundi's appearance doesn't help its fame either. With short legs, a long weasel-like body, tiny rounded ears, and a coat with 0 spots or stripes, they don't exactly scream wildcat. More than a few people have confused them for otters, giant ferrets, or even tyras, a type of weasel. Some have even mistaken them for coatis. And despite what the name suggests, Jaguarundis are not closely related to jaguars. Their closest relative is the puma, also known as the cougar or mountain lion. In fact, their chromosomes are nearly identical to the pumas, despite the big difference in size. According to genetic studies, Jaguarundis and pumas shared a common ancestor about 4 to 5 million years ago. Today, they both belong to the puma lineage, a lesser-known branch of the wildcat family tree. Compared to its wildcat cousins like the ocelot or margay, the Jaguarundi is, well, the odd one out. While ocelots and margays are strikingly spotted and built for tree-hopping elegance, the Jaguarundi is solid-colored, low to the ground, and prefers a life in the underbrush. They usually measure about 20 to 30 inches in body length, with a tail that adds another foot or two. They weigh somewhere between 7 and 20 pounds. Their coats come in 2 main colors, blackish gray and reddish brown, depending on the individual. And these 2 colors are so different, early scientists actually thought they were looking at 2 completely separate species. But nope, it's just the Jaguarundi being the Jaguarundi. Even stranger, kittens from the same litter can come in both colors. Their face is narrow and sleek, and their eyes, light brown to yellow, are just sharp enough to see you coming. Most wildcats are creatures of the night and avoid the midday heat, but the Jaguarundi is diurnal, meaning it's most active during the day, especially in the early morning or late afternoon. This probably helps it avoid run-ins with bigger cats who rule the night, like jaguars and ocelots. It may be small, but it's smart. The Jaguarundi knows how to stay in its lane and out of trouble. They're also excellent climbers, surprisingly good swimmers, and often forage both on land and in trees. Their diet? Pretty flexible. Small mammals like rats and rabbits, birds, lizards, frogs, insects, even the occasional piece of fruit. They're active foragers. They don't sit and wait. They walk. They search. They flush prey from the grass and chase it down. Not elegant, but very effective. Jaguarundis don't just look strange, they sound strange too. Instead of growling or roaring like your typical wild cat, the Jaguarundi chirps. Researchers have recorded more than a dozen different sounds Jaguarundis can make, including whistles, purrs, squeaks, and odd little trills. Some believe these sounds help them communicate with mates or warn off rivals through dense vegetation. Jaguarundis are territorial and solitary, except during mating season when they pair. The female gives birth after about 70 to 75 days, usually to 1 to 4 kittens. She raises them alone. The kittens grow fast. By 6 weeks, they're exploring. By 6 months, they're learning to hunt. And by 1 year, they're ready to go off on their own. Despite being so adaptable, the Jaguarundi is facing serious challenges. Although they're listed as least concern globally, in many places, especially near the edges of their range like Texas and Mexico, their numbers are plummeting due to habitat destruction, roadkills, and urban expansion. In the US, they're already believed to be extinct in the wild. In Central and South America, they're disappearing from areas with too much farming, too many roads, or too little forest. And because they're so elusive, we barely have enough data to know how bad things really are. You might be thinking, okay, cool little cat, but why should I care? As a predator, it helps keep small animal populations in check. As an indicator species, it tells us how healthy an ecosystem really is. And let's face it, they're just plain awesome. And honestly, if we can't make room in the world for a weird, chirping, day-loving, otter-shaped wildcat, who can we make room for? So the next time someone asks you to name a wildcat, throw them a curveball, skip the usual big names and say, "Have you heard of the Jaguarundi?" And if you thought the Jaguarundi was strange, just wait. There's another wild cat out there that looks like it's permanently annoyed, built like a puffball, and lives in some of the harshest places on Earth. Meet the Pallas's cat, one of the fluffiest, funniest, and most fascinating felines you've probably never heard of. It's grumpy, it's weird, it's awesome. Click on the video on your screen to explore the wild, wonderful world of the Pallas's cat. You won't regret it. And if you enjoy discovering the planet's most unusual creatures, make sure to subscribe.